this particular class is a mindset class. No matter what the level of your business currently is, this is something that I feel like is going to speak to you. I feel like we all need this. We all can kind of like level up further or get a mindset shift. So I'm going to be talking about, the things that contribute to you having a successful real estate business. And it starts in the mental. So I'm going to move to the next slide. Okay, so all I have to do is tap. That's great. So I hope you guys can see that on the Zoom, as well as you guys here. So pretty much, no matter where it is that your business is, you can always level up. This is me included, whether you're a new agent or somebody that is seasoned. As I mentioned, your mindset and shifting that is crucial. And we all get kind of sometimes beat down a little bit by this business. The truth of it is right now we are in an aggressive market. If you're not having the proper communication, the proper mindset of the people you're dealing with, you're gonna have a pretty tough time. I'll be very straight with you. It's important to check, check your home base, which is like, your own mind and things. You're dealing with a lot of people. We're dealing with people's personalities. So I'm gonna kind of like give you a few components of things that you want to really focus on, so that you could do this at a high level, right? So this class essentially is about you bossing up. Like, how is it that I can boss up, do this business, and feel confident about what it is that I'm doing? So, I think whether you're a new agent or a seasoned agent like myself, it gets lost a little bit on us about the fact that we're in a relationship-based business. The truth of it is that people do business with people they like. We forget that. We get robotic. We start talking to people like they're machines. Hey, are you pre-approved? Hey, how much down payment do you have? Hey, you want me to rent this from? Like, it's not. We're sort of forgetting the relationship aspect of this business. Whether you're dealing with other realtors, which happens, I think, it's funny when you're new, you easily get robotic with clients, and then when you're seasoned, you start getting robotic with other realtors. And that plays a huge factor in a market that we're in right now, where if you are a buyer's agent for someone and you're not really creating some sort of foundation relationship with the listing agent, your offer's not going to get accepted. They're not even going to entertain it. And I've taught classes on how to prepare offers, how to get them accepted and things like that. And that's really where it is that it always starts. It's creating a relationship. What does that sound like? Okay, hey, hey, Mr. Listing Agent, I really appreciate you taking the time to show my client the property. This was just a regular open house, but I made a call and I said that. No other real estate agent said that. So I'm already breaking myself apart and I'm creating rapport and relationship with this person. So those are the type of things that are like, hey, when they present my offer, even little things like that, and obviously more things that I'm saying in the conversation sets me apart. So, those are just sort of tidbits and things when it comes to just creating relationships. We have to really remember that. We have to remember that we're talking to people. So it's really honestly, as simple as that. People do business, again, with people that they like. If they like you, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt, and you'll have an easier shot at actually getting the business or doing a business with another realtor. So I think, especially when you're kind of getting your business off the ground here, starting and running your own real estate business, the more people, obviously we all talk about lead generating, talking to, as many people as possible, whether that's on the phone or networking or go to events. It's really honestly as simple as the more people that like you and that you follow up with raises the chances that you end up getting business. Because they remember Carlos from KW Landmark 2, that he was really kind to me and really nice to me, and I liked him. We laughed about XYZ. When something comes up, I'm thinking about him, even if I know 100 other realtors. But that happened recently, and he built a relationship with me. So, those are things, again, to, very much keep in mind, right? So after really tapping into the fact that, again, we're in a relationship business, once you remind yourself of that, the next component is communication, right? You need to be able to excel in communication. Like me, for example, a lot of my work that I've done in this business, honestly, I've picked up things about real estate and how to conduct transactions through time. But what I've really spent majority of my personal time is learning how to communicate effectively, how to be concise, how to speak powerfully to people. That when I like go in a room or if I'm speaking to somebody, they know that I'm the real deal. That's all from reading books. That's from doing classes like Language of Sales, which is a Keller Williams MAPS coaching program. These are things that I personally, when I sat down, was like, what is important for me to be able to take my business to the next level? I realized that, again, we're in the people business. We need to make people like us. Like I talked about, those relationships are important. So if you are not able to communicate effectively with whoever these people are, you're not going to get anywhere, right? So communication is crucial. It's literally the essence of your business, right? So once you pretty much you really like delved into figuring out different ways on how it is that you can excel in your communication, you want to perfect your value proposition. Like, what is it that sets you sort of apart? What is the value that you bring to the table? I'm going to talk more about that in the next slide, just about value and different ways that you can kind of attain that, and not only attain it, but be able to communicate what that is to somebody. Because you can know you're awesome, but you need to be able to show people that you're awesome. You understand? Like that, how do I communicate that? How do I effectively make somebody feel that way? So so again, leveling up is really these sort of three things. They revolve sort of around that. Understanding in your relationship business, they're not letting that lose you at some point. Excelling in communication, doing studying, role playing with people. I know you guys in PC do a lot of that. That's very important. And I think seasoned agents lose that after a while. They stop learning new scripts. They stop practicing the scripts they do, and they only rely on what they already know. And there's always so much more to learn in this business. So excelling communication and then perfecting your value proposition. So I'm gonna go into three different things that are there. All these things are kind of correlated and also overlap a bit. But these are the three things that I think if you really concentrate on, you're gonna see the dramatic difference in your business. Obviously, along the way with the knowledge and how to do real estate, all these things is extremely important. But these things are going to propel you, really. So confidence. This is probably the thing that I speak to people the most, whether again they have business, business, a good amount of business under the belt or do not. This is, I think, the thing that holds people back the most, especially in real estate. The lack of confidence. This essentially separates, where you are in your production compared to a bigger producer. And that's firmly what I believe, and everybody has their own opinion. So I like to say in my classes, these are things I believe, take what you think is valuable, and then the other things you can discard. I'm completely okay with that, right? So me personally, I feel like that's what the difference is. So when I meet, somebody like a Ryan Serhant, somebody, I'm going to use somebody that people know, his business obviously is on a whole different level than mine. I take that as you have confidence that I'm still maybe necessarily, that's the separation between us two, is the confidence to maybe be in front of somebody that's a $20 million, seller or buyer and not be intimidated. You understand? So confidence is so important, and how it is that you can build that is doing your homework. If you know that you're going to have an appointment with said buyer that they're looking in this area, or said seller that they own a property in this area, you do your homework. That is going to raise your confidence because you're going to come in knowing what you're talking about. Especially new agents, I know that is something that can be discouraging. It's like, hey, I don't know all this stuff about X, Y, Z. If they ask me about this, oh my God, I don't know. And these are things that seasoned agents deal with as well too. Because hey, if you're selling, $1 million properties, if something lands in your lap that's $5-7 million, that's a very different situation. And it happens to them as well too. And this is honestly happened to me as well too with certain listings that I've been presented with. So doing your homework is very important. That's what's gonna really give you that extra home when you're speaking about whatever it is you're speaking about, right? So when you're speaking with confidence, like I'm doing now, you feel it. It shows. When I'm across people from on a dinner table, when I'm doing a listing appointment, people feel like they can feel my aura that I know what I'm talking about. And that's something that we all need to have to make people feel confident that we're confident and that they're willing to give us the business. So the ways that you can really do that, again, is by doing your homework, and then the next thing, practicing your approach. very important. This is very understated. If you know that you maybe aren't the most confident when you talk to sellers, you need to role play with people acting like they're sellers, and how that conversation actually goes. I talk to myself all the time. You have to talk to yourself. You just do. You got to talk in the mirror. How do you sound? How do you look when you say certain things? You know, recording yourself. Hey, how do I sound when I do a listing appointment? Oh man, I realize I say all the time, or I say this. I need to fix that. You know, you are working on yourself. That is what's going to propel your confidence, that again, you're going to get so much more business. Because when they meet you, Carlos, they're going to be like, this guy knows his stuff. I want to do business with this guy. So practicing your approach is so important. Perfect your angles. Use your family. You know, use people that, you know, maybe you won't be as embarrassed with, because you're still, again, working on your confidence, and you can have those conversations. And, you know, again, this is your business. You need to take it extremely serious. These are the things you have to do to break that barrier and take it again to the next level, right? So the last one I want to very much explain, because sometimes people maybe take it a little bit wrongly. You know, fake it till you make it. I'm a big proponent of fake it till you make it. And what I mean by that is definitely not doing anything nothing that is unethical or illegal. I don't mean that by any means. I don't mean fooling or duping people. I just mean understanding that, you know, especially here at Keller Williams, we're the top dogs. That makes your life so much easier. Again, whether you're a seasoned agent or a new agent, telling that story. So what I mean by that is, hey, listen, I don't have all the production, or I've never sold in this neighborhood, or I've never, you know, closed a buyer before. You know, you have the access to using the numbers and the stats and the things that we do here to be able to make yourself look like a boss. So that is what essentially I mean by faking it sort of till you make it. It's being able to walk the walk before you've actually walked the walk. That's really ultimately where confidence is breeding. It's, hey, knowing your numbers in the office. Hey, I don't have numbers myself, or I've only done X amount of deals, but I know the office has done this. I come in ready for that. Hey, the seller, listen, this is what it is me and my team are doing. That's okay. Then you're not doing anything illegal or unethical. But you know, you haven't walked the walk, but you are, you know, you're walking the walk before you walk the walk, right? So these sort of you know, tidbits, I feel like it's gonna culminate to be able to boost your confidence. Because again, confidence is the name of the game. People feel that. That's how it is that you're gonna get the business that you want. So that's the first of the three in terms of what I feel like is going to get you to boss up and level up, right? So by the way, too, at any point, I love interacting in my class. If you guys ever have any questions, you guys in the room, people on the Zoom as well, too, please, you know, feel free to jump in. What's up, Carlos?
Going back to like practicing the script practice, you know, like I hadn't been in PC coaches, the link, something happened with the link, but I went back today and I realized I'd only been not practicing for like a week, and already the script felt like a little bit like, you know, distant compared to when I was on it every week, you know. So missing 1 week made me already feel like, whoa, I need to keep doing this, you know.
No, it's true. I mean, especially, how long have you been licensed?
About a month and a half.
Okay, so I mean, your brand spanking new. So I mean, a lot of the things that you're even talking about or dealing with, I hope you guys in the Zoom heard his question. He was just talking about script practice and, you know, you're losing yourself a little bit if you're not consistent, right? So, you know, you're so fresh that the things that obviously are ingrained in me at this point, they're not in you yet. So, you know, what did they say about habits? How long is it, like 66 days, I believe it is? Yeah. If you wanted to create some sort of new habit, you do it 66 days consistently. I don't know that you need to literally do anything 60 days, at least how I look at it. But I think it's just the overall point of just consistency. Is that when you do something consistently, you know, it really, especially in something that's so new to you. So, you know, you're completely right about that. You know, script practice, role playing, all that stuff is so crucial. Yeah. And I do that with my team as well too. So, I'll move forward. Let me go back to my side here. All right, so people can see me. All right, great. So once you feel like you've kind of, you're never gonna be, you know, consistently confident in every situation. I want to be very realistic. But once you feel like you've done some of the things that I talked about, you know, done your homework, you know, done some practicing how to excel your communication, and you feel like you boosted yourself up, the next thing that's going to cross you over, because again, the confidence is going to get you in front of somebody and demand the business or whatever the case may be. the next step is value, right? You need to be able to, you know, exactly what it is that I put here. Confidence gets you through the door, but value locks the business in. So confidence is going to be able to, this for, you know, a good example, confidence is going to get you to be able to get on the phone with a seller, for example, and no matter what the listing is, get you at that person's property, right? But value is what's going to lock that business in. That's what's going to get it so that you actually leave there with that piece of business. So confidence isn't enough. You need to be able to have value. You need to attain value and be able to, again, demonstrate that value. So pretty much, you know, what it is that's necessary for you to actually have value is, again, what I talked about before in the beginning. It was kind of like I feel like a sort of a screenshot of what it is that's to come in terms of the things I'm going to be talking about. So you, if you do your homework, you're going to be setting in what requires certain know-how. You know, you're pretty much going to be able to demonstrate to whomever it is that you're speaking to that you know what you're talking about. That's where it is that you know, it's important for you to actually do your homework for whatever it is that you're, you know, going to be speaking and dealing with somebody with, right? So proper value is going to, you know, make you shine, and then it makes you know your stuff. If you're obviously having a listing appointment, you do your homework on the neighborhood and property and so on and so forth. If you're sitting with a buyer that you know is looking in this area, you do your homework prior to. This is the value that you bring to somebody. When I sit with somebody, whether it's a prospective client or another realtor, that's always on the top of my mind. It's how it is that I can provide value to that person. Because I know that when I do that, some way, shape, or form, I'm going to get it back. It might not be directly with that piece of business. It might be something that comes a year later. I don't know. But because I'm offering value, I'm going to be perceived as somebody that's valuable. You understand? So going back, confidence. Hey, I'm confident now. Now I'm going to demonstrate my value to whomever it is that I'm dealing with. Because now I'm valuable. Even if it's a realtor or whatever the case, they're going to think like, all right, that guy, he knows stuff. He knows things that maybe I don't know, or he's very confident how it is that he speaks. Opportunities are going to start landing sort of on your lap. This is the mindset that you need to sort of put yourself in. Especially again in a business where, you know, nothing is really promised until a check is in hand. That's just really what it is. So you need to be able to offer value at a high level all the time to whomever you deal with, right? So what's very important, and especially when I'm speaking to new agents, they get a little bit intimidated when it comes to talking about value. Value isn't this; it's not knowing everything. That's not what value equates to. It just means being resourceful. I'm resourceful, and I'm resourceful because when I say I'm resourceful, I do my homework, and I have confidence. So all these things, again, they sort of overlap with one another. You want to be resourceful. That's what a realtor really is. A high-level realtor is resourceful. They don't just do one thing. They are resourceful. Whatever it is that you need X person that does this for your house, or you need a contractor, or you know, or you're looking about, you know, doing an event, you need a sponsor. Okay, you know, let me make a few phone calls. Or hey, if I don't have it, I'm gonna get it to you. Hey, you asked me a question, I'm not sure what the answer is. Even at this level, I think, funny enough, I think yesterday, the day before I was at a listing appointment, they asked me a question about owner's financing. And I don't know if you guys know what owner's financing is. Just pretty much like a purchaser deals directly with the owner of the property, and they work something out in terms of how the payments are, instead of dealing with a bank. I don't know all the intricacies of owner's financing. I've never done it. I explain the same way I just explained to you guys from what I know, and then I ended it and said, listen, be clear. I don't know all the ins and outs of owner's financing because I've never done a transaction that way. It's not that common in New York City, but I can get you answers if you need it. That's resourceful. I still gave you value and told you the honest truth. Now that person respects me. You understand? So again, value does not mean that you know everything. That just means that you're resourceful. It just means that you know how to figure it out. People respect that. They say, hey, listen, all right, I could tell you're kind of fresh, but I like how you get down. I like that you get it done. You're going to figure it out somehow, some way. So that is your value. So in summary, that's value, right? So we talked about confidence, we talked about value, and let's talk about the next component, because I feel like, again, confidence, value, and your worth is the things that, again, are gonna take you to the next level, is gonna get you to boss up, right? So, so assess the market and determine your worth, right? What I mean by that is, we're obviously competing with other real estate agents. There's a tremendous amount of real estate agents, right? So you need to know the areas, obviously, that you're gonna be trying to do business and things in, and you know what the price points kind of give or take are, what people are offering in compensation. You need to know your competition. So that is what it is that I mean about assessing the market. And why that's so important is that you need to be realistic. Especially newer agents, I see them come through the door, and more often than not, you know, their head is in the clouds about what's really gonna happen. And then they get a reality check and realize, you know, what this business really is. And it can be very challenging, but extremely rewarding, be very clear. I've been able to make hundreds of thousands of dollars doing this business. You know, so it's worth it. But, you know, you need to assess the market. So example, I know that in this area, the listing agents are usually, you know, this is an example, don't take this literal. You know, the average compensation that a listing agent is taking is X amount, right? I need to assess the market and be realistic to what it is that's happening. But understand the same thing, that you are determining your work based on that. So I think more specifically is, if you know a neighborhood is, you know, and again, this is your own business, so you can take this and use with it, you know, however you like to, right? But you know that people are getting, you know, 6% very freely in this neighborhood for the most part, because whatever neighborhood it is, and you know they're getting 6% for listings, right? So you don't go in that neighborhood and then start asking for 10%, because, you know, technically we can ask for 10%. You can do it. I'm not telling you not to, really, because it's really your business. But at the same time, you're not assessing the market. You're not seeing what it is commonly that's happening. Don't make this job career more difficult than it needs to be. You assess your market. This is what is that's on average happening. Let me determine my work based on that and what it is that I know I bring to the table. Me personally, I always ask for more than what's going on in the area, but that's because I'm confident in what I bring to the table. And I tell the clients that, because they always ask me that back when I tell them what it is that I charge. They say, oh, okay, you know, Joe Schmo told me this. I'm like, oh, that's cool, that's Joe Schmo. That's not Emilio Estevez from the REHub team at Keller Williams Landmark too. It's just not. And I bring a different level of integrity to the business and what it is he gonna do. So this is just kind of what it is. And that leads me to the next thing, which is once you determine your worth, I can't tell you that. That's why I'm being very cautious about telling you all about numbers, because I can't tell you that. That's something you figure out, you sit down and you say, hey, this is what I'm going with. This is where I know I'm gonna be doing business. I think I can definitely get this. Let me do it. And obviously it's gonna be trial and error too. You start realizing, hey, that's not working. Let me make an adjustment, right? But once you feel like you got in that, say from a couple people, now it's time for you to be firm about that. Because that's the other thing. I see, especially newer agents, they come up with these crazy numbers of how they're gonna do business, and then they end up exiting the business without doing anything because they have not adjusted to what's going on. So once you figure that out, it worked a couple times, now be firm about it. This is extremely important. People get beat down all the time when it comes to compensation with buyers and sellers. Be firm about what you bring to the table. Do not go back on your word. You know, obviously, sometimes you do need to be a bit flexible for certain pieces of business, but it should be relatively close and not the same thing that you consistently get. So, you know, that is extremely important. I'm very firm on what it is that I ask, right? So, and you're gonna be tested. The truth of it is you're gonna definitely be tested. There's gonna be times where you kind of second guess yourself a little bit because you're not sure if you did the right thing or you offered the right thing. This recently just happened to me, to be honest with you. It was a very big listing and I could not take it because I felt like it was a slap in the face in terms of what it is that he was trying to offer in compensation to me. So I had to lose the business. And you know, it literally went into contract recently and I was a little bummed about it because it was a couple $1 million deal. But, you know, again, that is where you need to kind of check yourself and be like, hey, I know my worth. I know my worth. It's very important.
Like that.
Huh?
All business.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna end with that. That's like the biggest, best piece of advice I got. So again, whatever your worth is, be firm about it. But again, be realistic. Let it happen a couple times. You've done it, or if it's worked for you a couple times, be firm about that. You need to have standards. Morals and standards in this business is what sets us Keller Williams agents apart against other people. These mom and pops and these other brokerages, they don't have rules. That's why it's important. We have rules so that we can have a certain, level of integrity that people see us and they know KW is the real deal, right? So finally, when it comes to worth, this is kind of correlated to what I was just talking about in terms of like compensation, being firm about all that stuff. This piece of advice is what transformed my business. Before I became a consistent capper in this office, this is something that was told to me that I really think that shifted everything for me. I really honestly believe that. I don't know why. I'm sorry, guys. Let me just let in these people that are sitting trying to get in the room. I don't know why Christina didn't put them in here. It's fitting. All right, cool. Oh, don't do that. Go back. Oh, okay, cool. All right, sorry about that, guys. So this, back to, the last point, this is what transformed my business. I sat down with a successful KW agent from upstate, and, I simply asked her, I said, what is the best piece of advice that you will give to somebody like myself at that point a few years back that, would really help, help my business? Like, what's that one nugget? Like, think of it, whatever that is, right? And she answered very quick. She said, listen, when I realized that all business was not my business, that is when my business took off. And I said, wow. I was like, it's so simple, but it's true. And then she elaborated. She said, hey, listen, we in this business get very, especially when we're new, get so excited with every piece of thing that comes to the table. Oh, this guy wants to buy this house. Oh, hey, this guy wants to sell his house. Oh, this person wants to do this. Or this person wants to rent that. And we think that we have to take it because we know about it. And the truth of it is you don't. You should only do business with people that you can tolerate to do business with. That's extremely important. There's a lot of people that, are not the most pleasant people to deal with. I personally, I don't care how big the deal is. I'm not doing it. This business is already high level stress. I'm not going to invite people into my world that are not worth me doing business for money, because money, it's not worth it. It just isn't. So, when you understand that all business is not your business, you're going to be more selective. And as long as you work on those two other components, your value, your confidence, the right business is going to come to you. We live in New York City. There's millions of people here. Just because one person, you didn't like how they were, or they weren't too fond of you, there's other people. You don't have to be fixated on one piece of business. So, that is very, very important. Remember that. Like, all business is not your business, right? So, that being said, that's pretty much wrapping on all the content that I wanted to go over. Again, this was a mindset class. Again, if you add confidence, value, and worth, that equals being a boss and making real money. So, thank you guys, for listening to my spiels and things like this. I appreciate you guys' time. Real quick, before I jump off, if there's any questions or anything like that, I don't know if there's some stuff in the chat. Right now is, I guess, a good time for you guys to ask any stuff, if there is anything. Let's see what we have here. I'm checking the chat really quick. All right. Yes, all good. Hello. Via text, Susan. Does anyone ever send a New York State disclosure via text? I've never done that through text. I mean, if you send it to a text and they print it and they sign it, that's okay, I guess. As long as they sign it somehow, or in person, or whatever the case may be. So hopefully that answers that, Susan.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let me see. DocuSign is a good option. DocuSign offers a text. Oh, all right. I was following up. All right. I read a book yesterday that your business grows as your self-concept confidence raises. It's crazy. I'm hearing again today. That's awesome, Christian. I don't know if you're still in here, but that's it's true. It is very true. Like all the things that I said, I'm telling you, all these things are all. It's funny, they're mindset, mental-based things, but they correlate so much with just your success in this business. It's just the truth. If you work on these things, you'll be very surprised when other opportunities are going to start landing, at your feet. So, I'm glad that that's the case. Yeah. So that being said, is there on the Zoom? Are you guys good? Like, I don't see anything on the chat on here, anybody speaking. Thank you again, guys. I really appreciate it.
One quick question.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
was a book that you mentioned something about language skills.
Language of Sales.
Language,
It's a Keller Williams MAPS coaching webinar program.
Okay.
They do it every few months. I don't know when the next cycle is. I took it maybe about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Oh,
And I retake it whenever they bring it around.
okay.
Because it's like 5. You're taking the classes through like Zoom and stuff.
Okay.
So definitely check out Language of Sales, guys, and read some books about communication. Thank you guys again. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. No, thank you guys.
Thank you, Emilio. Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys.